So now comes the really fun part where we get to make it kind of come to life for our client. So I downloaded this template or mock-up, Photoshop mock-up, and I'm going to go ahead and provide the link for you so you'll be able to see that link. To be able to grab this same template, or if you want to find another template. But this one was really easy to work with, and I didn't have to sign up for an account to get it either, so that was nice. So go ahead and check it out, download it, and I have it open here. If I don't want to see any of these kind of blue guides, I can just go to View and just click on Extra Off. So go ahead and unclick Extra, and now I have this nice clean palette to work with. So this is how mockups usually work. So this is a little bit of a different sizing, so we're just going to have to kind of mess around with that a little bit just for client presentation, because the whole point of doing a mockup is to get client presentation or to have a portfolio piece. So we want to make it look really, really cool and kind of extend the design and brand outside of the chocolate bar. So here's how Photoshop mockups work. So I'm going to go ahead and click on the mockups folder right here in my layers panel. I'm going to go ahead and click on O1. I'm going to go ahead and toggle that. It looks like there could be a couple of other different versions. So there's kind of a slanted version, and there's bars stacked on top of each other, and there's the two bars here, which we may end up using now that we have two in the series. So let's go ahead and do this first one. So I'm going to go ahead and uncollapse this number 1. And go to, I believe it's templates folder. What I'm looking for is right here. It says rectangle 1. We're going to go ahead and double click that. This is going to be what populates this section. So you can always find it by toggling on and off the view. You can go ahead and find that layer. I'm going to double click this layer. It's going to open it up in a new folder or a new window. And this is where I'm going to drag and drop my design. So I'm going to go back into Illustrator. I could export it as a JPEG and bring it over, or even better yet, it's a little bit of a different size. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to expand this out just a little bit to kind of give me some leeway with the size of the bar on the mock-up. The best thing to do is find a mock-up that has the exact sizing that you need, but that doesn't always happen. So we're just going to work with this for now. We're just expanding everything out past the sides just a little bit to give us some more room to fit on this mock-up properly. Okay, there we go. I'm just going to drag it over, just drag everything and drop it in. Let's see how this looks. This looks a little wider than our design. Our design seems taller for some reason. So this could be a different, this looks like it's European, so 40 grams. So it could just be the difference between American chocolate bar sizes and European chocolate bar sizes. I'm sure there's definitely a difference. So you can ask your printer or ask around what is the right size for a chocolate bar wrapper. And that will usually be supplied by the client. So yeah, this is a little wider than usual. That's okay. We're just doing this for presentation, so we can kind of get this approved so we could start working on the back side and have a complete design and theme. So I'm just going to drag that down, get it to the right sizing. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to close this window, so click on close, and I'm going to save it. And when I save the window, it's going to automatically populate in the mock-up. It's going to be like magic. It's just going to pop on there. So updating smart objects, and my computer fan is whizzing away. There we go. So I love to tweak mock-ups a lot, and it's really, when you know Photoshop, it's really easy to do. So I'm going to go down, I'm here kind of in this folder system. I'm in mockups, I'm in the template. So this is the file that, or the layer that we just modified. And I'm going to uncollapse that, and I'm going to find lights and highlights. And this is where you can kind of mess with the lighting. So I like to toggle to see what the heck I'm doing here. So I'm toggling that, and I'm just going to reduce the opacity. I don't want so much glare on mine because it's not going to be a high gloss finish. It's going to be kind of a matte finish and a linen finish. So I'm just reducing the light, and you can toggle it to see the effect. It's really having a huge effect, this layer. So what I can do is reduce the opacity on it. Have just enough gloss to show a little bit of lighting showing on the mock-up, but not enough where it looks, you know, crazy shiny. So template, I go through each one. I toggle, I see what effect it has, see shadows. I think those shadows are too harsh, so I'm just going to just reduce the opacity on the shadows just a little bit. And there we go. So I want to kind of extend and show my client kind of the texture we created. We spent some time kind of researching that. What was our inspiration? I'm going to kind of apply it to the background. So I'm going to go ahead and bring in some of our texture and elements. So I'm just going to release my clipping mask. Bring in our dark charcoal gray. Let me go ahead and select just that. Let me see, I think I need to move this higher up. Ah, there we go. I need to bring this into the background folder. So I'm just going to drag this below. There we go. So now it's behind the chocolate bar. That's our charcoal color. I want to bring in our texture here we used. I think I released the clipping mask already, so this is the full texture. Make sure it's high res enough. So that's bringing it in. Sometimes when it brings in smart objects from Illustrator, it takes a little bit of time to load. So I'm just going to do this so I can stretch the texture out a little better without blowing it up so much and reducing the resolution. Press enter. Send this all the way back right above the bottom layer. I want this to be subtle. Let's see. I believe I applied a hard light 62 transparency setting. So let's do the same in Photoshop. Go here to my blending modes. Soft light, or hard light, I believe. There we go, hard light. Bring that out a little bit more. So it looks like it's almost laying on top of a cool slab rock table, which is kind of what I'm going for. So let's bring in our cool texture. So let's go ahead and make this bigger. Make this very big. And then we can bring this in as a smart object. But what I'm going to do is I'm just double clicking on the layer. I'm just doing a simple color overlay. And I'm just doing a gray color. I'm going to drag this all the way back down, 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 down here. And maybe I want to angle it. Maybe I don't. I don't know. Because right now I have it straight up and down. I have this pattern straight up and down. But if I angle it on the background, it adds a cool contrast. And I can show how the pattern can be adaptable. So I'm going to zoom in on the pattern so people really kind of see that. It's not too detailed. And I'm just going to reduce the opacity a little bit on it. Oops, I did that on the overlay by accident. Let me go back down to my layer. Toggle, make sure I got the right one. Looking for the texture, this is where naming it really helps. Texture, okay. Just reducing the opacity on that. Just so people can barely see it. And I can even add a layer mask here. I just grab my gradient tool. I have a black and white gradient. I'm just going to click and drag, make some of it transparent maybe. So it's blending. A little bit like that. I think I like it all full like that. So I can play around with the blending mode here on our texture. I have it named now. Do an overlay. I could do soft light. I think I'll just do normal. You don't want the texture to overpower the bar. The whole point is showing off the bar. So now people can see the pattern. And I'm going to change my mind. I never do that, right? I'm going to select the pattern and go back. And what helps if you, right now I have, this is just a little trick, is I have auto select on. So each time I select an object, it's going to select the one on top or wherever I click. But you can go ahead and click auto select off. And you'll go ahead and select your layer and it won't automatically select the one on top. So if that ever bothers you, just go up here to auto select. It'll select the one on top, unselect it. It'll keep with what you selected on the layers and it won't automatically select another one. So just in case you didn't know that or that was driving you crazy, how it was. Go ahead and double click and do our color overlay. Reduce the transparency. So now it's showing the same pattern. I think that might work better. I think the other pattern, it was just didn't work with this one as much as I was hoping. There we go. So I think we're done with our presentation. So that'll be kind of how we present it to the client. Of course, we have our other one that we can show too. So we have this one that has a very similar pattern, just like that. So it's very, see it across the board. Some good consistency with those. So now we can even do a mock-up where we show both of them together, so we can kind of show them how these bars are all going to look on the shelf together. So we're going to do that, and then we're going to do the back side of the design, and then we will be done.